In the bustling city of Lagos lived an ambitious young man. He had just graduated with a first-class degree in computer science, and his dream is simple but powerful: to own a software company. He wasn't the kind of man who gave up easily. Once he set his mind on a goal, he chased it relentlessly. So the man's name is Nathaniel. Nathaniel was the only child of a wealthy parent. His father owned several successful businesses, and they lived comfortably, lacking nothing. He attended the best secondary school, graduating at the top of his class, and later he enrolled in one of the most prestigious universities. Life seemed perfect until one afternoon in his first year at university. A phone call shattered his world. His parents had been involved in a terrible car accident. They were dead. Nathaniel rushed to the hospital, hoping against hope that it was a mistake. But it wasn't. He cried uncontrollably, calling out to his parents, begging them to wake up. Doctors eventually had to pull him away and calm him down. Hours later, his father's brother arrived with his wife. They cried together, mourning the loss. A week passed. Nathaniel personally handled every burial arrangement, paying for everything himself. After all, he believed he would inherit his father's wealth. But during the preparation, he noticed something strange. His uncle and his wife were nowhere to be found. He called them repeatedly. No answer. After the burial, Nathaniel went to their house. They weren't there. Confused, he returned to his own home. But when he tried to drive in, the gate was blocked. A new gateman stood outside. "Who are you?" Nathaniel asked. Before the man could reply, his uncle stepped out with his wife. Beside them stood a man in a suit. The man introduced himself as a lawyer and handed Nathaniel some documents. As he read them, his hands began to shake. Every property, every businesses, even the car he was driving, all transferred to his uncle. Nathaniel was shocked. His father had never written a will. He had always promised that everything would go to his only son, but the will had been forged. All documents have been verified, the lawyer said coldly. You are required to vacate the premises immediately. Nathaniel's legs weakened. He looked around the house he grew up in, the mango trees his mother loved, the walls filled with memories. You mean I have to leave? He asked. His uncle nodded slowly. I am sorry, but there was no sorrow in his voice. You didn't even wait, Nathaniel said bitterly. My parents aren't even cold in the ground yet. Without another word, the uncle ordered the gateman to throw Nathaniel out and take the car keys. He fell to his knees and cried bitterly. Nathaniel returned to school with nothing. He was fortunate that his parents had already paid for his accommodation, but everything else became a struggle. That first night on campus, sleep eluded him. His mind replayed everything: the betrayal, the loss, the sound of the gate slamming shut. He wanted to call a lawyer, but had no money. Then reality hit hard. School fees were due. Food became a struggle. His lecturers noticed his sudden withdrawal. One of them approached Nathaniel and asked what was wrong. He finally broke down and told everything. After reviewing his records, the school made a rare decision. They offered him a scholarship examination. If he passed, his tuition would be covered. If he failed, he would be sent home. Nathaniel studied like a man fighting for his life. He read under street lights during blackouts, borrowed textbooks, and ignored hunger, but he refused to surrender. When the results were released, his name topped the list. The scholarship was approved. But life remained hard. He fixed laptops, wrote small programs, and taught fellow students just to survive. Nathaniel, who had once had everything, was now doing little job just to survive. Exhaustion often overwhelmed him, but suffering changed him. It sharpened his mind, it strengthened his spirit. His dream didn't die, it evolved. 4 years passed. Nathaniel graduated not just with a degree, but with discipline, resilience, and an unbreakable mindset. After graduation, there was no celebration, no inheritance, no family waiting, only a small laptop and a determined mind. He started freelancing tirelessly, solving problems. He rented a tiny room that serves as both his home and office. Failures came often. Clients refused to pay. System crashed out, yet he refused to quit. Slowly, his work spoke for itself. One client led to another. One success opened bigger doors. He registered a small software company. At first, it was only him. Then one person joined, then 2 more. They worked long hours, sometimes without pay, but driven by belief rather than money. Nathaniel treated them as partners, not employees. Years passed, his software solutions began serving major firms. Contracts grew larger. His company expanded. His name spread throughout the software industry. The boy who once struggled to eat had become a respected founder. Everything was going smoothly until love walked into his life. Her name was Vanessa. She was beautiful, charming, and full of admiration for his journey. She listened when he spoke and praised his intelligence. For the first time in years, Nathaniel felt truly seen. She often brought food for him in his office. Even his 3 most trusted staff, who were with him from the beginning, admired her. But after some time, they began to notice something strange. One day, Nathaniel and his 3 friends decided to get lunch at a restaurant. As they sat down, one of them noticed a girl sitting with a man. "Boss, isn't that your girlfriend?" he asked. Nathaniel was surprised. What is she doing here? He stood up and approached her. "Vanessa, what are you doing here?" he asked. She was shocked but composed herself. "Nathaniel, meet my brother, George. He just came back from the US, so he decided to take me out," she said casually. Nathaniel sighed with relief, believing her immediately. "Oh, okay, no problem. You guys should carry on. We'll talk later, okay?" he said. His friends did not believe her, but Nathaniel waved them off. "You guys worry too much. He's our brother and I trust her," he said. Later, one of his friends saw Vanessa and George coming out of a hotel together. He immediately told Nathaniel, but he dismissed it. "Maybe they went there to buy something. It's her brother. Besides, I know she would never lie to me." All this kept happening, but Nathaniel's love for her blinded him to the danger. Slowly, questions began. How does your company make so much profits? Why don't you put some things in my name? Or don't you trust me? One day, Vanessa brought a document and asked him to sign it, claiming it was for her work. Blinded by love, Nathaniel trusted her deeply. He signed without reading it. A week later, police stormed his office and arrested him for fraud right in front of his staff. Later, he was taken to court. The courtroom felt cold, too quiet. Nathaniel stood there, his hands shaking, his body tired, his heart still refusing to believe this was real. He kept telling himself it was a mistake, that somehow the truth will save him. Then George stepped forward. Nathaniel's heart dropped. That was the man Vanessa had sworn was her brother. The man Nathaniel had defended again and again. As George stood beside Vanessa, something happened that crushed Nathaniel completely. They looked at each other, not with familiarity, not with family affection, but with intimacy, with shared secrets. His heart pounded painfully. "I am not her brother," George said calmly, his voice steady. "I am her partner." The word tore through Nathaniel like a knife. "Partner?" His knees weakened. Then papers were brought out next. They were displayed for everyone to see. Nathaniel leaned forward, his heart pounding painfully. At the bottom of the page was his signature, his own handwriting. No, I didn't know," he whispered, his voice cracking. "You signed them," the judge said firmly. "You transferred everything." That was when Nathaniel realized that the papers he signed for Vanessa was a transfer of everything, his company, his assets, everything he owned. Nathaniel's chest felt like it was collapsing. "So, I destroyed myself," he whispered. But silence answered him. He looked back at Vanessa and George. They stood side by side, comfortable, victorious. George's lips curled into a satisfied smile. Vanessa held his hand. Nathaniel felt something worse than anger. Emptiness. The judge spoke again. "Finally, this court sentenced Nathaniel to 10 years in prison for fraud." The gravel struck. 10 years? The sound echoed in Nathaniel's head like a death sentence. As officers grabbed his arm, tears finally escaped his eyes. Not loud, not dramatic, just silent tears of a man whom trust had killed him. He did not only lose everything again, but he was sentenced for a crime he knew nothing of. Nathaniel was led away, and in that moment he understood something very painful. Losing everything once was terrible, but losing everything because of love was far worse. But 5 years later, Nathaniel was released for good behavior. Determined to rise again, he reminded himself that they might have taken his company, but not his brain. As he stepped out of the prison gate, he noticed an expensive-looking car packed with his old good stuff. He was surprised because he thought they would have gone broke since they were also kicked out of the company. They drove to a new building, different from his former office. When he entered, he saw the remaining 3 waiting for him. They gave him an office of a boss. Shocked, Nathaniel listened as they explained that the project he had once started was completed during his imprisonment and had become a massive hit. Companies were interested in the software. During those 5 years, they had built a new office and employed more staff. Overwhelmed with emotion, Nathaniel thanked them and apologized for not listening. Instead of being the sole boss, he made all 5 of them partners and named the company after the 5 of them. He had returned not just to wealth, but stronger than before. Meanwhile, Vanessa and her lover were terrible at managing the company, and the company quickly fell into huge debt. They were eventually sent to prison. His uncle, who tried to destroy Nathaniel, ended up destroying himself, losing all his businesses to gambling and ending up on the streets with his wife. Moral lesson: greed will always destroy the greedy. Not everyone who claims to love you has good intentions. True loyalty shows itself in hard times, not success. You can lose everything, but if you don't lose your mind and integrity, you can eventually rise again. Nathaniel lost everything twice, but because he never gave up, he rose again, stronger, wiser, and unbreakable.